There we go. Got some audio going, I think, finally. And a few viewers. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another one of my impromptu live streams. Go on, hey man. I don't know, I've just got it installed earlier today, a little earlier this afternoon, and I thought I would mess around with it tonight a little bit and see if I can get it centered. That initial part of the process is just really irritating. You have no idea where that wire is when you put it in there. I could have it twisted. I could have two full turns in it and not even know it until you hang it up and let it start unwinding. So you know, it's just anybody's guess. And this is the kind of stuff that Anthony Riley will pull out and say, "See, that thing's moving all over the place." Well, hell yeah, it is. Of course it is. I just put it in. We're trying to figure out where the center is. We're trying to get it adjusted so that the balance sits in the middle. That's what we're doing. I just made an adjustment to it a few minutes ago, so let's see. So far, it's still bouncing off the walls inside the cabinet. And as long as that goes on, you're not going to get any kind of stability out of it. It has to settle down. These things are extremely sensitive. Hey, Dart, what's going on? I don't have the Discord running. Let me see if I can fix that. I'll be right back. Now let's see if we can get connected here. I think so. And the live stream's still running. That's good. Well, I haven't broken anything yet. Give me a minute. Yeah, putting new wires in these things. I'm a glutton for punishment, I'll tell you. It's pretty much an all-day job. And of course, you're bound to break something, kink something, or you know, something's going to get screwed up invariably. Howard Moore, howdy. What's going on? I don't know where our red dot went to, but I can see it over there. It's on the far left side of the scale right now. It's a little warm in here. I think I'm gonna convince the air conditioner to do something. There we go. Evan Waterman, yes sir, tungsten. Exactly what's in there. 0.007-inch tungsten. Which it turns out is slightly more valuable than gold, I think. Damn, 25 feet of that stuff is $80. Wow. But if it works, right? So far, so good. Oh, there's the red dot. It came back. $95 degrees in the Arizona desert. Wow. You need to drive on up in the mountains. Hello, John Hanson. They're going to ruin your sleep? I don't think so. Wasn't planning on it. Hello, Paul D. David Lee. Hey, man. I'm just sitting out here watching this thing oscillate, and I figured I might as well share my misery with you guys. We'll see if we get this thing close to center tonight. I would like to then tomorrow. You always have to take a little look at the enclosure itself and see if it's centered. That's not too hard to figure out. If you look at the torsion balance position on both ends of the box, then you can see if it's not hanging in the center of the box. Not that that really matters that much. I mean, if you're only off a few 20ths of an inch, who cares? It's not really going to change anything. But try to get it as close as I can anyway. And yeah, Evan Waterman. I had thought I was just going to go back to steel, but then somebody showed me another torsion balance, one where they built it with the masses staggered from each other to sort of well, at least help eliminate that attraction problem that you have with each large mass attracts both of the small masses. But in reading through that thing, they talked about their tungsten wire. So I see tungsten. Okay, may as well give tungsten a try. But damn stuff's expensive, but why not? Where's this thing going to, man? Oh, way out to the right. It will bump into the cabinet. Got an indication of about 16th, 20th of an inch on that vernier scale. I'm thinking it's going to make it. But maybe I'm wrong. The first job in the center of one of these things is to make it stop banging the damn wall. As long as it's doing that, you don't know what's going on. You may not get there. It may be right on the edge. We'll know here shortly. Yeah, I think we may have an actual oscillation starting at 7:33. Just for fun. And the calculated oscillation period for this tungsten wire should be 16 minutes and 40 seconds. 1640. So that would put us back down on this end at 7:49. But the midway point is 8 minutes and 20 seconds. 7:33 plus 8 minutes and 20 seconds would be 7:41 and 20. So we'll see how good the calculations are. Hello, Barry on. How you doing, man? Andrew in Ethan's break room has a question. He says, "Want the vibration from the ground cause the masses to move?" And the short answer to that is no, it doesn't. That has been tested in a very informal sense by dropping things on this floor out here just to see if we could induce any sort of vibration, and you really can't. If you drop heavy enough something out here, I'm sure you could. We don't see any, I don't see any influence of like vibration, except the vibration that I induce myself. If I go over there and touch that thing, I can make it vibrate. Yeah, good. Very glad to hear it. Evan says tungsten is neat stuff. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Damn wire though is it's curly like a pig's tail. It's, you got to be careful with it. I kinked the first one I made, and as soon as I did that, of course, you break it. So I'm already on wire number 2 here. Hopefully I took enough care of this one. It'll be okay. You never know. Hello, Clyde Wells. Yeah, it's getting in a hurry now, isn't it? That's funny. It's funny when you look at that and think, boy, that's moving fast. Yeah, we got a strange perception of things sometimes, don't we? I know I do. 21 people watching. Hey, thanks for showing up, guys. Not a lot going to happen tonight. I'm just going to fiddle around with this thing and get some idea where the what the period of oscillation is, we'll do a better test on that. I found the best thing to do for oscillation period is to set up the DSLR and do a time lapse and show and capture 8 or 10 oscillations, and that way you get an accurate idea, you get an accurate measurement of what the actual period is. That period is pretty critical. If you get that wrong, none of the calculations are going to be correct. That's really effectively measuring the torsion constant of this thing. Hello, Carl Christopherson. Welcome. Trying to show Sloppy how much of a dunce he is, says Paul. Yeah. Sloppy's a dunce, all right. He's been all over the community section, dropping no end of comments and arguing back and forth with you guys. I've talked to him a little bit. I really don't have time for that guy. Now he's trying to convince me that I need to make the big weights move by not even being out here in this room. You know, which I could do. I mean, and I thought about that to begin with, like BM Furball did. I could put a stepper motor up there in place of the manual method that I'm using. But I kept it pretty faithful to the way Cavendish had his. And while I know that me moving around in here will upset it a little bit, as long as I stay over here on this side of this workbench and right off the end of the balance, I don't have any effect on it. Just sitting here talking to you guys, sitting here watching the video, I don't see any purpose. And I think what Anthony really is trying to do is just create a situation where it's impossible to do the test. So I don't think we'll fall for that bullshit. I think we're very close to hitting the sidewall on that side right now. That side hits at about 11 because this thing's not hanging exactly in the center, but we need to make it stop the oscillations and see exactly where it's sitting before I try adjusting the leveling screws on the cabinet. There's a sequence this stuff has to be done in. 741. And 20 seconds would be the center point. And that's, we're on 741 right now. And it looks to me like it's already moving. It's already moving back down scale at 741 and, well, on the money, let's call it 741. I didn't see if it hit or not. So the other end will be at 749 in 20 seconds if the 1,000-second period, calculated period, was correct. DKK, Danish Krona. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. True Scotsman says, science me, bro. Yeah, I'm doing my best. And let's see, YouTube's bitching that it's not receiving enough video. No data. What? I hope the stream's not about to drop. We may have lost it here. You guys still seeing the stream? I don't know if I'm talking to myself or not. Maybe. It says I'm live. Damn YouTube. I just put the latest Windows update in the machine earlier today, and that's never a good thing. I get these random errors out here on this machine when I'm live streaming. All of a sudden, for no reason, it says it's not getting enough video or something. I don't know. I'm using OBS, sending that to YouTube. Might be this old clunker of a PC I bought to do this with. It just isn't quite up to the task or something. I'm running 3 cameras. Who knows? Hello, Justin Neal. Anybody that wants to join me on Discord, feel free. Let's see if I can get a link. Let's see, here we go. There's a Discord link. Evan says it switched to switched to Golden Girls. Hey, that's not all bad. I like Golden Girls. Let's see, which way is this crazy thing going? Oh, going to the right. No, that hit the wall. Damn it. That definitely hit the wall. I'll give it just a little bit of a tweak and move it further to the counterclockwise slightly. And we'll see what that does. Yeah, so if you haven't been keeping up with the saga, you might want to go into the community section and look at the little post I put in there earlier today and check out all of the comments by Sleeping Warrior. It's pretty funny. Especially his last one where he wants to be able to move the large masses from outside this room by remote control or something or the other. He talked about pulleys and stuff. I don't know what the idiot thinks I'm going to do. Cut holes in the wall of the house or some damn thing. Anyway, that's crazy, of course. And then he wants continuous uncut video. He wants me to do 360 pans with a camera showing everything in the room. I don't know how I'm supposed to not be in the room and then pan the camera around to show everything. I don't get it. He's just making up shit. He knows he messed his attempt up. That's the problem. He realizes that, or is starting to realize that they just made a mess out of that. And worse than that, they did it after being told not to do that. Not only by me, several other people said it too. Carl Christopherson, super chat for 20 Swedish. Thank you, sir. Very much appreciate that. And Lay, and I'm just going to call you Lay because there's no way in hell I'm going to figure out how to pronounce that. Your other name, you are correct. He will simply just move the goalpost. They don't have any answer for this. Mass absolutely does attract mass. You can say it doesn't all you want to, but it does. Anxious to see how symmetric these oscillations are once this thing stops banging off the damn walls. This is not going to be as sensitive as it has been when I had the beryllium copper in there, for instance. That thing had an oscillation period of 1,300 seconds. This is 1,000 seconds. So it's roughly half the sensitivity. That's still okay, though. We can deal with that. IB Hunter says apparently they think I'm the first to try this. Yeah, right. That may be what they think. It's been done so many times. And I mean, done in a very excellent, very precise way. You can go back to, today we call it NIST, it's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, but back in the day they called it the National Bureau of Standards. And they built a Cavendish type device to make very precise measurements of big G. In 1930, it was done in a vacuum, all of the things that you hear the flat earthers constantly bitching about. And that was 90 years ago. And they repeated those tests in 1942. I've got both of the reports. They're readily available. And then time after time, with various institutions around the world, the Cavendish experiment, it just seems to go by that name. This torsion balance experiment that measures the value of the gravitational constant has been done over and over and over again. And then you start talking about all the damn thousands or hundreds of thousands of times it's done in colleges and universities, and even some high schools all over the world. Damn, I did it in a physics lab in 1969, 68 or 69. This is not new stuff. Not at all. I just wanted to do it the way Cavendish did it, as closely as I could come to replicating what he did. The modern stuff's a whole lot nicer than this. A whole lot easier to deal with. Uh, and lay cruising on, is it? Or, well, whatever. Yeah, you're right. You can buy a cabbage on Amazon. You can go to Pasco and buy the full blown thing. Hey, Facty, what's going on, man? This is done all the friggin' time, but not by some clown hanging a yardstick from a string in his garage. That won't work. IB Hunter says gravimeters are a variation. Well, not really a variation of the Cavendish experiment. They're a different way of measuring gravity, and they measure it by the acceleration. That gives you the acceleration of Earth's gravity. And what we're looking for is that universal gravitational constant. Barry says, I've seen other demonstrations of mass attracting mass too, like putting a mass on a spring scale and then placing a greater mass under. I know the video you're talking about, I think, Barry. And I'll be honest with you, I got questions about that. I'm not so sure that that's real. It makes me a little uneasy when I see it. It's a very, very small change. It should do, I mean, if you've got a scale that's capable of measuring the difference, it should be a way of doing it. I just don't know that that old scale those guys had was that accurate. But who knows? I think they may have been more interested in making a film than they were in doing any actual science. But it's interesting nonetheless. Hello, Peter Harrington. How are you? Thanks for showing up. All I'm doing tonight is having a very first look at what the uh, tungsten wire is going to do. And right now, we've still got really big oscillations. I'm still in the process of zeroing everything. So don't misinterpret this sleepy if you're looking at it. These are actual oscillations. This is not just randomly moving. It's oscillating around some resting point. Wow, 33 years. You guys really are bored on Sunday night, aren't you? And Mark, I hope that's a tongue-in-cheek kind of comment. No, this is not very exciting. This is as far from exciting as it gets. But you know, this is what a lot of science is about. It's what goes on in the laboratories all over the world every day. You don't just have scores of scientists in white lab coats running up and down the hall screaming "Eureka!" That happens maybe once in a lifetime, if you're lucky. A lot of the time you sit watching stuff like this. Steve Brown, Mr. Andrea, good evening. What is going on? Justin says, it is interesting. Well, I'm glad you guys find it interesting. I do. It's interesting to me. I can quickly see how this is not for everyone, for sure. Steve Brown, cheers. Yeah, and I calculated a period for this particular wire of 16 minutes and 40 seconds, 16.66 minutes. So we'll see when it settles down a little bit when it's going to be. Bear in mind, I mean, that's a precise engineering calculation if everything was perfect. And I feel, pretty safe with the Young's modules for tungsten. We know that's about 160 GPa. Okay, that's good. What we don't know is how accurate is this 0.007 inch diameter wire. Maybe it's 0.00700. I don't know. Maybe it's 0.0072. I don't know that either. So if the wire is a little smaller or a little larger, that quickly has an effect on this. Should certainly be within 10%. Oddly enough, that barium, or really not copper wire, came out on the nose exactly what I had calculated the period was going to be for it. I'll do a video one of these days on how that's done, just for fun. Might help somebody that's thinking about doing one of these things. You can at least get a good idea of what's happening, um, or what you can expect. It's not a good plan just to gather up some lead weights, a piece of some sort of wire, and head for the garage, hope for the best. It's a whole lot better to do a little bit of physics on it first and see what you should expect to happen. Got another super chat from Sam. Is it Sally? Sam, thank you so much. $10. Thanks for your time and effort. You betcha. You betcha. Sean Hawkins has his money on the red dot. How you doing, Sean? Good to see you, man. I've been catching a few of your streams lately. So you guys see Sean on live, give him a visit. He likes to tear these idiots apart. Man said about it. Oh, where'd the red dot go? Off to the left. And GSS Tiger super chat for $5. Hey man, thanks. Just stopping by. Well, you're welcome anytime. I missed the peak on that side. Don't know what time it happened. I think the balance still needs to rotate clockwise slightly. So I'll give it another little tweak. We'll see. The red dot is, oh yeah, the red dot's back. Good. One of these days, I'm going to be smart enough to figure out how much one turn on that adjuster up there changes the position of the balance. That'll probably happen just about the time I am done with all this. We've got a downvote out there. I haven't paid any attention. Welcome, Sleepy. Sloppy. Yeah, Sam, you are right about that, sir. Cavendish was a patient and brilliant man, for sure. Paul Lee says, send Sloppy my greetings. D-Rabbit says, from what I've seen so far, it's the tungsten acting better. I can't say yet. I really can't. It needs to run for another few hours before I can really definitively say what it looks like. I'm interested in how symmetrical this oscillation is. But we won't know that until we know what the center point is and whether it's moving or not. Hello, Eric. How are you this evening? No, I don't think anybody's saying they don't like tungsten. I'm not very fond of working with it. It's just rather difficult to work with, but it's much easier to build this balance with carbon steel. IB Hunter says, not a good time for flat earthers. Bob released the raw data from the fiber optic gyro. Actually, I think that, yeah, I guess that was a fiber optic. And I've been measuring G and Bob live stream satellites through his telescope. Yeah. Yeah, they are having their issues, are they not? Eric says, where did I get the tungsten from? I found it on eBay. Or not eBay, on Amazon. Only source I could find of it for 0.007 tungsten. Damn stuff's expensive. It's about $3 a foot. But hey, so be it. There's a link to the Discord in case anybody wants to join in. Feel free. Ed has a question. He says, does air help damp the oscillations? Yeah, that's one of only two things that actually are damping the oscillation. Just the little bit of air resistance you have inside that enclosure and the internal friction in the wire. That's all. That's the only two things. Now this time I'm going to pay attention, even though the red dot's going to move off the screen, I can still go over there and watch the scale and tell you where that minimum point occurs, and then we can figure out when that happens. So I'm going to do that. I'll be away from the mic here for a minute or two. just hit the wall at 46 millimeters. So I actually need to bring it back the opposite direction. Let me make another quick adjustment. Lost OBS. Lost OBS there for a second. Should be back now. I don't know what happened. Windows 10 probably is what happened. Hello, Hugo Perez. Sam says gravity knocked off the internet. Too much gravity out here, damn it. And Sam points out that the bananas we eat today are called Cavendish because absolutely. William Cavendish, who was a cousin, I think, of Henry. Eric, I agree with you. The independent variable of the Cavendish experiment would be mass proximity. Although you could make the case that you really have three potential independent variables. Uh, the two masses and the distance between them. But the small mass actually just falls out. At the top end of the scale, we're at about 280. I'm watching it real time, about 286. It's still moving up scale slightly. I'll move the green marker down here so I can track it a little better. It just helps me see when it stops and turns around. And it's real close to doing that right now. In fact, I think it just did. Call it 8:24 and 45 seconds. So the bottom end would be 8:33 and 5 seconds. If the calculated period is right. So we'll see what happens. Sam says we need to invite people to talk. I agree. I've done that several times. We'll do it again. You guys come in the Discord and talk to me. I don't think much of the nylon fiber idea, Eric. I mean, with a little bit of looking into that, I did. That stuff doesn't have much of a modulus of rigidity at all. I think you'd have to use a pretty substantial size of nylon or a fishing line or something like that to get it. I don't know what it would do. Eric says he's in Discord, but he's audio output challenged. I feel your pain. Yeah, Barry, you're absolutely right. Nylon wood, you would end up coating it with conductive paint or something like that. You in there, Sam? Hop over to my channel and jump in the general chat if you want to. Again, there's the link for it. Should work. Sam says, explain my setup and where I'm keeping all this. What are you looking for, Sam? Hang on a second. Let me take a look at the laser. I think we're going to bottom out again. Yeah, bottomed out at 8:30. 8:47. So I'm going to make another adjustment. There we go. See what happens now. Okay, Sam, I got you. Yes, my workshop, which at one time was a garage, but there's no longer any room for any cars in here, so now it's a workshop. Fun facts about the project. Well, I started thinking about this project a year ago, and I don't even remember when I did the first video on it. It's been quite a while. Um, I think I did a poll in the community section, asking people's opinions and stuff. And the idea, just from day one was to try to duplicate what Cavendish did as closely as we could. Everybody's seen versions of this thing done different ways, from the highly professional crap that you see in big laboratories and at institutions like the National Bureau of Standards. But we've also seen gobs of just silly attempts at it by flat earthers like Chris Berry, who really thought he was going to go out in his garage and use a couple of trailer hitches and some kennel weights to prove or disprove whether Cavendish works or not. And that's, it runs the gamut from the ridiculous to the sublime. I think one of the better ones that's been done in a while, I thought, was the one that Liam Furball did when he was over in Korea. Hello, Professor Phil Bell. How you doing this evening? Helmix. So when you change wires, how long does it take to adjust it? Well, most of a day usually. By the time you get through fiddling around with it, it'll take. Yeah, it takes about a day to get everything settled down enough that you can decide whether or not it's settled down enough, you know, if you know what I mean. All these wires will drift a little bit. Uh, just randomly. They'll move a little upscale, they'll move a little downscale. That doesn't stop you from observing the effects of gravity. What it does is make the measurement of the amount of deflection you're getting inaccurate. If it's drifting, you don't get the right deflection measurement. If you don't get that right, then you don't get G right. So that's the problem. And that beryllium copper would not stop doing that. It just continued to drift randomly. Never a lot, maybe 20 millimeters up, sometimes 10 millimeters down, 15 millimeters up, 20 millimeters down, back and forth. Now the deflection, when you start moving the masses around, is 40 or well, actually total is about 80 millimeters. So it's no problem seeing the deflection. The problem is making any damn measurements with it. That's the fight you go through with this thing. Got to take a brief pause. I'll be back in a second. All right, got the red dot to disappear the other way this time. So I'm going to move the green thing. The green circle doesn't need to be there anymore. And hello, QED, what's going on? Mark says build a vacuum chamber around it. Go to your room, Mark. And there are people absolutely demanding that the damn thing has got to be done in a vacuum chamber, which is preposterous. No, the peak was around 315, I think. I'm not sure. Sort of missed it. This becomes a lot easier when the red dot will stay on the damn screen. And then I can just move my little circles around and you can track where the thing is. Alex, you are so right. it would take a hell of a pump. Early in my career, we were a startup company involved in manufacture of air pollution control equipment, specifically a device that's called an electrostatic precipitator. But we decided that we wanted to build our own power supplies for that thing. And a precipitator needs on the order of 50,000 volts DC at currents of maybe as much as a couple of amps. So needless to say, you don't go down to Home Depot and pick up one of those puppies. So we got a license agreement going with a German company, and I spent about a couple of months in Germany, and then ended up building a little factory to manufacture those things that we call transformer rectifiers. And because of the voltages involved, quite common technique for both cooling and for dielectric properties, those transformers will be liquid filled, just like the ones hanging on the pole out by your house, or the ones at the substation. They're all liquid filled transformers. Normally, the liquid that's in them is mineral oil, same stuff you buy down at the drugstore, but it can be other fluids too that have a high fire point, but won't even go into that. They all have one characteristic in common, and that is the thing that ruins the dielectric strength of a material like that is moisture content. And the way you remove moisture content is by heating the fluid and then putting it in a vacuum. So we had to build a vacuum chamber to be able to dry out the internals of the transformer rectifiers we were building and purify the oil that we were putting into them. So we ended up with a vacuum chamber that was about 7 feet square. This thing, looking into the end of it, about 7 by 7, I think. So this gizmo here would have fit inside it, not with a lot of room to spare, but it would have fit. And I think the chamber was about 12 feet in length, something like that. The damn pump, the vacuum pump that we needed to get that thing down to about 1 torr, was enormous, a big, big thing. And the vacuum chamber itself was a huge thing. I don't even recall right off the top of my head, but I'm thinking the weight of it was on the order of 30 or 40,000 pounds. So you're not talking about any small time stuff when you talk about building a vacuum chamber to house something like this. The forces are enormous. And it was square, which is also not a real great idea for a pressure vessel, but you know, what the hell. John Rapp, you're absolutely right. A vacuum chamber would be ineffectual without a total dissolved solids meter. Yep. Hello, Chris Durham. How you doing? Who else we got up here? John Jezza. Hello. If I'm missing anybody, I apologize. It's not intentional, unless I happen not to like you, in which case it is very intentional. I shouldn't say that. I don't. Everybody that comes to my live streams are just really nice people. Hey, 32 watchers and 35 likes. Thank you. Appreciate that. Wonderful. Let's see if the dot's bouncing off the bottom again. Oh, goody. 59 millimeters at 846. When it stops rattling around, we start to get some good information from it. Stop for a second to talk to Mrs. Blue. Put her damn red dot now. Yeah, it's still off to the left. It's coming back though. We'll see it in a minute. Lee Rabbit says, are you recording all this 24/7? No, I'm not. I can record for about 12 hours. And after that, it doesn't save it anymore. I got to look into what I'm doing with YouTube and why that's happening. Red dot's just coming into view on OBS, and there's time to live 20 or 30 seconds, I think. Hello, Peter Harrington. Hiding doing housework. Good man. Yeah, if you were going to do this thing in the vacuum, you only need the small masses in the vacuum. You don't need the rest of this thing in the vacuum. Just the small masses. That's all. Everything else moves just because we want it to, and we make it move. But really, if you're interested in 3 digits of accuracy, there's no need to do the thing with accuracy. If you're trying to get better than that, yeah, get rid of that influence too. I think the peak ought to be, or the top number ought to be happening at about 854. So we'll see. So we got 24 people watching. So let's see what happens. Maybe it'll stay on the scale. I think that may be just about it right there. No, not quite yet. Let's see. Put the green thing around it. Okay, that was at 8:54, 20 seconds, which is exactly what it should have been. So I think the calculated value of 1,000 seconds, I think it's 1,003 seconds, is going to be pretty close on this one. Well, that's good enough. Now let's see, what was that number? About 302. $854, 302. So I'll spend tomorrow off now, getting this thing centered up. Once I can get it to the point where I can see where the oscillations, where the resting point will be, then I can look at whether or not the balance is actually centered in the enclosure. And sometimes it isn't after I take it apart and mess with it like this. But it's easy just to look at the scale on both ends, and you can tell pretty quickly whether the top of the enclosure is leaning backward or forward or whatever. And I've got the leveling screws on it, so it's easy to adjust it. Need to get all that done, and then we can set about looking at taking some actual data. I think I'm going to try to do the Cavendish method this time in terms of data acquisition. Before I tended to, while I was waiting until the oscillation was down to like 10 millimeters, and then that makes it easy to see what the center point, what the resting point really is. Cavendish didn't do that. Cavendish says, and he says this in his paper, that it's best to take the readings as soon as you can after you move the masses, as soon as the oscillations get started. And he takes 3 successive extremes. So the first extreme and the third extreme are going to be on the same side. And the second extreme, of course, is on the opposite side of the rest point. But he averages the first and the third, and then takes that average and averages it with the second. That's how he did it. So we're going to try that and see how it works. But for that to work out right, the oscillations need to be symmetric. And with some of these springy wires, they haven't been. You could easily fool yourself just by which 3 extremes you pick. So minimum should be around 9:02 and 40 seconds. I'll probably have to go read this one off the scale. It's going to go off the screen here. Yeah, I have it correct. 8:54 on my clock here. You're an hour different than I am. I'm going to go watch it over here on the scale. So 66 millimeters at 902.40. Okay. The previous minimum was 59. This one is 66. What's the next top one going to be? Oh, Evan, you're saying 954 seconds. Okay. Could be. We'll find out. I'll do a time lapse tomorrow and catch, pardon me, I'll catch 8 or 10 oscillations of this thing, and then you got a really good handle on what the average value is. Better not be 666. Yeah, you're right, Don Joseph. Absolutely not. No 666 is allowed here. But you know, we got enough data right there to do the Cavendish method if we wanted to. So 59 plus 66 divided by 2 plus 302 divided by 2 says the center point is 182.25. And we would cross that center point at 906.50. That would be close to the center. 906.50. So this will give us some idea. We actually crossed it at 906.30. That's off just a little bit. For just rough grad numbers like that, it's not bad. I'll be able to analyze the data after we get it settled down. Replay this and see what it actually did. Hello, Rob Barton. Good evening to you, sir. And it is evening here. It's 9 p.m. I don't know where Sloppy is. I have no idea. I don't know that I want to talk to him anyway. Don't really care. It's not about him. He's just trying to make it about him. Let's see where the let's see where our pick's going to end up being this time. Looks like it was about 282. Thereabouts. Yeah, this looks a little asymmetric too. I'll be back in a second. You guys amuse yourselves in the chat. Okay, I'm back. I think this thing's going to sit through the night. We'll see where we are in the morning. Make any final adjustments. Well, start fine-tuning it is what I really should say. Check for center and all that stuff. Hello, John Rep. I see you hiding out there. I get to go in the morning to get my log allergy shot. So I'll be missing for about an hour while that goes on. Mrs. Blue has already had hers, her first one anyway. I'll get my first one at 9:40 in the morning. It's been hard to get those things. Yeah, good for you, Eric. Yeah, I'm ready for it too. I've been trying for 3 weeks to get scheduled. Actually, I'm going to Walmart to get it. Of all places. Oh, you're getting the Pfizer, huh, Eric? I'm getting the Madeira, I think. If that's I think that's the name of it. Okay, that time is now 77. So let's see. What did that do to it? Yeah, that says the resting point's 176. That's that asymmetric behavior I've seen many times. But it's hard to judge when the oscillations are this large. Oh, we'll know by tomorrow morning. The middle of this oscillation is. Then we can start getting it tuned up to see what we come up with. I'm going to let the stream keep running while I go grab something to eat. I haven't had anything to eat. Yeah, it's 9:30, so I may join in the chat from the other computer if it'll let me do that. We'll see. Anyway, one way or the other, I'll be back in a little while. Yeah, that's right, elements.
Level is horizontal.
He is an arrogant little fellow. I know that. I listened to him on Jose's channel the other day. The way he talks to people just makes you want to slap him. That's an excellent point, Alex. Absolutely. I don't know of a single surveyor anywhere that even owns a water level. Probably never used one. That's a construction tool that we use sometimes. He simply refuses to acknowledge the fact that his proposed bullshit amounts to proving that water is level by using a water level. No shit. I'm pretty sure that'll work. And I'm 100% positive it'll just walk you right around the curvature of the earth, too. I agree, Evan. Any minute now, this will have to be done in a zero-G airplane while flying over the top of Everest, inverted. I hear you, Peter. Yeah, Sean, Brian's logic has gone on a tear here recently. He's doing these hour, 2 hour, 2.5 hour long presentations uh, where he gets just about everything wrong. It amazes me that those guys still hang on to this concept that uh, the water cycle and the nitrogen cycle and so forth that's what causes the pressure gradient. Why is it then that I can seal up the dreaded pipe? I still have it sitting here. I can seal up the dreaded pipe And I don't think it's going to be influenced anymore by those gas cycles. But the damn gradient is still in the pipe. Why is it? You're absolutely correct, Evan. If you have an active enough way to measure, you could measure, you would measure. And that's the point I've been making too, Eric. You can't just make gas at the surface and not take in the same quantity of gas at the surface. It has to. If it doesn't, you have to see an increase in pressure. Over time, that's what would have to happen. But it doesn't. You've got a 4 or 5 psi difference from sea level to just 10,000 feet. Why is that gas not rushing up? Why do we not feel a vertical hurricane perpetually? You would have to. Now, it's this gravity thing that screws them all up. As much as they hate it, we can show it's real. You got snow tonight, Dark. Where are you? Oh, okay, got you. Scottish borders. I wasn't sure where you were. Oh, Royal Candy. Yeah, the laser fell off the left side. It'll be back in a minute. Hey, Alex. Thanks for showing up, man. And I'm not far behind you. I think I've probably bored everybody and myself enough for one evening. Unless anybody's got any questions. Concerns, criticism. If you got any criticisms, keep them to yourself. I want to hear that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream at this point. Uh, Again, I appreciate everybody showing up. We weren't doing much tonight other than just watching the red dot march back and forth. But this is what you go through when you replace one of those wires. That's what has to happen. Uh, Thought I'd give you guys a little look at what goes on when you're not looking. I've done this many, many times. At this point, I don't even want to think about how many times I've done this. Yeah, Dart, I hear you. It's 10 o'clock here, almost 10. So, now that the red dot has returned, we can be sure it didn't just go fall on the floor somewhere. It's still up there. Let this thing run through the night, and it will uh, hopefully be fairly stable by tomorrow morning. Should be 9 hours from now, 10 hours from now. Yeah, that'll be good. Evan, thanks for the frequency. That's a really little number. Wallace, thanks for coming. And with that, I will see you guys on the next one. Have a good evening.